week, I murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean I make medicine sick.
What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunched Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Barry Mcguigan. Barry Mcguigan had some interesting stuff to say about Daniel Dubois. He said, I don't like the idea of Daniel Dubois fighting Oleksandr Usyk. He would prefer Anthony Joshua or Tyson Fury rather than Usyk because Usyk is a bag of tricks and he's a southpaw. But I've no fear of him fighting any of these guys. Those are the words of Barry Mcguigan, and let me counterpunch. It's strange to hear a trainer say things like that, but of course, if he said it, he said it. It's just strange to hear him say it because normally, you don't really hear trainers say things like that unless it was a great concern. I do remember Freddie Roach saying that about Terrence Crawford to Manny Pacquiao. When asked Freddie Roach, hey, what do you think about Manny Pacquiao and Terrence Crawford? And he was like, no, that's a very bad style matchup. I don't like Terrence's style for Manny. Okay. Abel Sanchez. When Abel Sanchez was like, you know what? No, I don't like Joe Joyce in there with Luis Ortiz. I don't like that particular fight. I don't think that he's ready. Okay. And this was 4 years ago. All right. Almost to the day. Because this was in December of 2018, right? So now we have Barry Mcguigan not liking the idea of Daniel Dubois in there with Oleksandr Usyk. So the question you ask yourself, what did they see about Usyk that could stop Daniel Dubois? Well, let me answer that question for you. First of all, the speed. Second of all, the angles. And given that Daniel Dubois, as we know now, is injured, Daniel Dubois would more than likely, with the way he fights, he would be forced to throw punches with anything on him because of the constant movement by Oleksandr Usyk. He would be probably injured trying to keep up with Usyk, footwork-wise. Okay? We already seen what Ledena, the South African, did. And I think he got hit and he stepped back. Thinking a guy that stutter steps and uses those herky-jerky movements like that, he'll give Daniel Dubois fits. I see Fist City Boxing Clinic written all over that fight. And I think they know that. I think it's like a Jeff Lacey taking on a Joe Calzaghe situation. Okay, I think it would be that type of fight that he would just eat up Daniel Dubois. And Daniel Dubois really wouldn't be able to throw those punches because Usyk wouldn't give him chance to, and he would hit him hard enough to keep him honest from just going in and throwing a bunch of shit punches. Okay? And then, God forbids Dubois gets tired, then his ass is really mincemeat. Because then at that point, he wouldn't really know what to do. And then we may see a situation again like Joe Joyce, or better yet, Manny Pacquiao and Antonio Margarito. Pacquiao just kept throwing punches, and he just couldn't miss Antonio Margarito. I think it would be the same for Oleksandr Usyk. So Barry, his reckoning is, he's tricky. Well, that means he's skilled. That means he's too skilled for your type of fighter that throws heavy hands, that's not that quick, that is a decent boxer. Okay? And you don't really see Daniel Dubois putting in a lot of pressure because honestly, I think Dubois' first 11 or 12 fights, that some of them I feel they were stopped rather quickly, when he just really started landing. And I think that he didn't really develop as a fighter because once he did, he would either knock you spark out because he does have very heavy hands. So he really didn't have to learn anything. So his adversity, really came from Joe Joyce, because Joe Joyce was still there after those bombs over Baghdad, right? after he threw all those punches. Joe Joyce was still there. Joe Joyce was still maintaining the jab, and the jab was a problem for Daniel Dubois, and it just shows you that Daniel Dubois was unable to deal with the jab, to defend against the jab. That's one punch, but that one punch landed all night long to Daniel Dubois' face. So what do you think Oleksandr Usyk will be able to do coming from the southpaw stance? Right hooks over the jab all day, just like he did with Joshua. It would be something similar to Joshua, but worse, because at least Joshua had a little bit more broken rhythm than Daniel Dubois. People say Joshua's, a lot of his punches are telegraphed, but at the end of the day, you know, if you think that about AJ, check out Triple D. Okay, so yeah, that fight, Barry Mcguigan already read that with his eyes closed. He wouldn't like that fight for him. I think it's interesting. You guys tell me what you think about Barry Mcguigan not liking the Daniel Dubois fight that's mandated by the WBA to take on Oleksandr Usyk. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!